Welcome in, everybody. Joe Quills here, flying solo this week for another edition of Also Eligible. And it is Whitney Day at Saratoga. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at 5 races today. And we'll see if we can get them done by 11:15 because your boy's got to work today. So we're going to look at 5 races here today and hopefully give you guys some winners. And even if I don't pick the winner, maybe I lean you toward that winner that you want to get at Saratoga today. So I am flying solo today. I believe AJ is going to be back next week, which should be interesting because I believe we are going to go to Colonial Downs next week for the Arlington Million. That's a race that's hold a special place in my heart because of the fact that I loved Arlington Park, even if I just went there twice in '07 and '09. Um, it was a stop that I had to go to when I went to Wrigley Field to see the races. So, uh, Arlington closed. The race went to Churchill for a year. Now it's at Colonial Downs where they can run at the mile and a quarter distance on the turf. But that's next week. But before this week, we need to um, first tell you the weather up there, as I am in Philadelphia, and it rained overnight here, and it also rained up north in Saratoga Springs. And this isn't an Ohio State Michigan thing where we talk about the team up north. I'm just letting you know that is a ways north of me in the capital region of New York State here. And I do want to share this. This is from David Grenning of um, the Daily Racing Forum. And there you see it. Saturday's races 1, 4, and 13 are off the turf. The 3 stakes races, the 3 races we're going to be looking at today, 7, 9, and 10, currently remain on. And if you're playing all the races today, races 1 and 4 will be run at a mile. And that's because they were scheduled for a mile and a 16th on the turf. Um, they don't have they don't run races at a mile and a 16th, so they shorten them up to a mile. And race 13 or races 1 and 4 at 1 mile because they don't have the mile and the 16th. The mile and the 16th distance at Saratoga, and race 13 stays at a mile and an eighth. So just want to let you know there. The track at the beginning of the day is going to be, um, as I'm trying to get myself back on here, forgive me. Um, There we go. So we do have um, we do have track conditions that are not ideal. The track is going to begin at the main track is going to begin as sloppy, and the turf course is listed as good right now. But one thing we have learned since we started this show in April is that, especially when you have an earlier track starting and they're going to roll, the scratches are going to roll in if they haven't already. You are going to see scratches, and you're going to see if somebody is joining me on the show or when I'm flying solo like I am today. We are going to get the scratches in, and we're going to have to fly by the seat of our pants. Now, I do have the article that I wrote here from for today. That will be posted on. That will be dropping at 11 o'clock at BleacherBrothers.com. So, um, so you do have. So we are going. We're probably going to have a few changes here, especially the three turf stakes, because of the fact that some horses may prefer a, a firm turf course, whereas it's listed as good right now. So it did take over an inch of water overnight. So we'll see what happens later today as we get into this five race sequence. And also, don't worry about the fact that, oh, how do I watch this? You can watch it right on regular Fox TV from 3 to 6 p.m. They're going to have all five races. I'll be watching it while I'm working, and we'll see if we can get some winners here. So just going to do a quick glance here, see if the scratches are in, especially for these first five races. Does not look like the scratches are in as of yet, but that probably means with the first post today at 12:05. We are going to get those scratches in here probably halfway through the show. So so we are going to look at a couple of races. We're going to look at these five races here. I think this is the first time we've done five races on one card. So we are going to have um, some uh, lot of stuff that we're going to comment on here. So now, the one thing, and also if you want to chime in, feel free to do so. I know that we have viewers watching on X as well as YouTube at the moment. Facebook we're on as well. I have to work with AJ with getting us back on Twitch. I think it's just that he has to log in. Um, or reestablish the login on Twitch. I think that's the issue. And I may be totally wrong, which I am more times than not, as you know from reading my articles. So hopefully next week we will be back on Twitch. Let's get to it here on this Saturday. But actually, before we start, I do want to unveil something here. Um, some of you guys who know me personally know that my father was a guy who loved to play the horses. Um, never. I mean, he was a win better. Give me or win place. He'd go, and he would tell me a lot of times in the final months of his life. The one thing he would say is, um, he would say, "Just give me all the fives at Saratoga. Like if it was today, just give me all the fives at Saratoga." So I found this site. I actually found it on Instagram. It was an Etsy site called Just Us Phillies, JUSTUS Phillies, and they make all kinds of horse racing apparel, which is a little bit different. But I thought it was a good way that I could honor my father. So this was going to be unveiled Thursday night on my other show, the Joe Quills show, but I had to cancel because apartment took over, and I had to clean all the cabinets out because they were doing a uh, um, the exterminator had to do some major work here, not because I'm a pig, but because other people in the building are. But do want to unveil to you something I was going to unveil Thursday night, and that is this pillow of the number five. So that is going to be in the background as long as I am streaming. So those that are in the know what it means, and those that don't, hey, I'm free to tell you, hey, it's just a tribute to my dad and also that. So, because my first race back after his passing, I did write an article. I said I didn't even handicap this race. I'm just picking the five. Of course, didn't win, but I mean, because my dad would always tell me, "Oh, we're just going." I randomly played a race at Parks, and I played the five, and it was 50 to 1, and it won. Now I could. He knew I could check that shit up stuff, and say, you know, why you know, I could check and say, Dad, you're a liar. I could go back and look and say, look at the results and say, yeah, he did. So his stories were always about the five horse, and I thought that was a way that I could honor him into perpetuity as long as I stream here. So, and it's not because I'm trying to hide the Phillies thing because they're in a major slump right now. But anyway, so let's get to it here on this Saturday morning, and I am going to be looking at a couple different screens here. So if it looks like I'm not paying attention, or if you have a comment, feel free to do so because um, I'm more than happy to share your thoughts on here. Now here's the sample message here. If you have something to say and it's worth mentioning, I will bring it up here for you. So, and we got a hard out for 11:15 a.m. We hope to be done before then, but we'll get to it here. So the first race in the sequence is race 7, and this is going to begin a pick 5. Now, for those that are not familiar with NYRA, which is Belmont, Aqueduct, and Saratoga, those 3 tracks, that circuit, they have at least 2 pick 5s a day. The first 5 races a day, the last 5 races of the day. Now, there is a possibility, albeit that much, and you know, you do have races where they will have no. I mean, they'll have days every once in a while where nobody hits the pick 5. Nobody can figure it out. So that's why when you look at the program today, if you haven't already, you will see mandatory payout. What that means is they will pay out for 4 or 5 if nobody gets all 5 horses in the sequence, which is a rare thing with NYRA because of all the money they take in daily. But the first 5 races of the day, the last 5 races of the day, if nobody hits that, they carry that over to the corresponding pick 5 on the next day. So let's say nobody hits that early pick 5 today. That will carry over to tomorrow's pick 5. But because this is an added pick 5 that they do with the New York tracks every once in a while, this pick 5 sequence, which is an all stakes pick 5, will pay out to 4 or 5 or 3 or 5. It's with all the money in there, it's going to pay 5 or 5. But basically, what the mandatory means is we're not carrying this over. We probably don't have a pick 5 tomorrow. That would be similar in the sequence. So we're definitely going to we're definitely going to pay it out, even if it has to pay 4 or 5, for example. So that's what that means by mandatory. So if you're looking at the program there, so So we are looking at the race sequence. The first race is the Saratoga Derby Invitational Stakes. It's a grade one on the turf. The turf right now is listed as good, and looks like the scratches have come in here. Uh, I'm just peeking ahead here so I can prepare myself mentally for these last four races. Okay. Okay, so we have one scratch here. The two Cagino has been scratched. So we are looking at a field of seven here. Um, and you know what? I'm going to share my screen with you today. We're going to do something a little bit different here. So I'm going to show you what I see when I look at these races. So let me go. No, that's not it. That one's it. Okay. So we're going to share my screen again. And if you're watching and you do not hear me, um, and if you don't hear my voice, just let me know. I'll I'll drop the I'll drop the I'll drop the I'll drop the scene as it's called here. So we're going to look at these five races here. First race here is um, the Saratoga Invitational. Let me just zoom in on this a little bit so you can see a little bit. And we may get more scratches along the way here. Um, but it looks like that the scratches are in because it is 10:15, 10:17 actually, and we do have first race at 12:05. So we have seven horses here. Cugino is the scratch. Um, Favored is Diego Velasquez. Um, I do have a bit of a concern here because of the fact that this horse ran 2 weeks ago. Uh, 16 days ago in Ireland. And I know how I am when I'm flying Philly to Seattle. So I can imagine what flying Ireland to the United States is like. So, but, you know, Aidan O'Brien and, Aidan O'Brien, he knows what he's doing. He is a uh, great international trainer. Um, and then you have the jockey here, um, Ryan Moore, who is his number one guy. I did watch this Leopardstown race. On. Um, I did find it on Twin Spires, and he does face older here. It was a three and up race, as you can see there by that designation. He was wide throughout. I mean, and even in that turn there, I believe it was a one turn race, if I'm not mistaken. He was wide throughout. And the one thing is that we talk about, especially in turf racing, is that these races sometimes you need to be closer to the rail because the further out you are on the turn, the more real estate you got to cover. And he covered it well, and he drew off in the stretch, and he won by 7 lengths. Now, with the weather the way it is, it's possible that Diego Velasquez may not like the softer ground. And I'm saying softer because it is going to be listed as good from what we've seen so far. So you are going to see, you may see this horse come back to the field a little bit. And if you still believe that this horse can win, you may get better than that 2-1 odds. But um, I mean, I also think he could be distance limited here. Um, I wrote that in the article, but he did win going 9 furlongs. He's got to go an extra 16th of a mile here. So we'll see. Um, but it may be that it was the surface that really affected him uh, in some of these races here. Heavy track, that's a lot of water on the track. Good, sometimes that tells you it's good is actually firm there. Soft race did finish fourth at Longchamp, so be interesting to see what happens with them. Um, Now, he could benefit from a speed duel here. The one Izzy Dioro went to the front, has consistently gone to the front since he returned to the races in February. We're going to zoom down to the 8 here. White Palomino, the two races at Aqueduct, BAQ, Belmont at Aqueduct meet, he was on the front end. So you could see those two horses on the front end, and that could help Diego Velasquez a lot, and also should help Legend in Time. Um, Legend in Time, as I'm going up here, and I apologize if this is making it dizzy or sick. Uh, he ran this distance at Aqueduct last month, stalked the pace, was behind the duo, just couldn't get by. Did win at a mile and an eighth in the Pennine Ridge. That was a grade two race. This is a grade one race. Um, sometimes these grades can be misleading because sometimes the races don't meet up to the expectations of the grading. The five deterministic was briefly on the Kentucky Derby. He was on the Kentucky Derby trail. Didn't show much. He didn't show a damn thing in that Wood Memorial. Didn't show anything in the Peter Pan. Christophe Clement is more of a turf horse, but he does have the ability. He does have a lot of turf runners, and they tried him in the turf in the Manila. He did close. He just could not get by neat. And if you watch the races yesterday, whoops, and I am going to pull myself back up here. The one thing is, if you watched the races yesterday, and this was the Quills Picks Winner race yesterday, where Neat beat out my horse, which was the filly. Um, the filly that I had going against the boys finished third, lost by about half a length. Neat came on the outside to win. Um, so if you're a believer of transitive properties, that sort of thing, this may be your horse because of the fact that this horse, if you believe that he was right there with Neat, then deterministic is your play here. And I will take deterministic here in the Saratoga Derby Invitational. I'm going 5-4-3-8 here. Um, going to go with um, deterministic over Diego Velasquez, over Legend of Time, over White Palomino here in the seventh race, um, which is the Saratoga Derby Invitational Stakes. So we're one race down here. And the one thing is today, feel free to join in the chat. I'll try to catch what you're saying here, and because I'm going with 3, 4, 5 different screens here and tabs, so I may not see it right away, but I will try to get to you. So I do want to keep it interactive because you know, I may not like a horse, but you might, and that's what we've done when AJ's been here, when Frank's been here. We're going to definitely. I'm always open to opinions, and who knows, maybe you change my opinion, even though my picks are locked in here. So, so that is the Saratoga Derby Invitational race number 7 on the card, and the first race that we are looking at today. So, let me pull this back up. And then we get into the second race here. As I go here to race number 8, it is the Grade 1 Test Stakes. It's for 3-year-old fillies going 7 furlongs. And for those that are very good with, um, very good with wet track handicapping. Keep an eye to the track because I think that this track will be drying out today. Let me pull up the weather app here on my phone because it's going to be cloudy. There is a chance of a shower around 2 o'clock. So, yeah. So you probably will have some sort of moisture on the track. It may be fast. They may have been working on it, but from what I saw this morning from one of my friends on Facebook, he showed a tradition unlike any other, which was the Olympic sprint to get the picnic table you want at the start of the day. So, but but we have six fillies here um, going in this race. And the one thing I almost always do is when I go to a race here, first thing I do is I scroll to see how far I'm going down, and I see there's only six horses in this race, six fillies, I should say. So favorite is Ways and Means, and the she ran well in that Oaks race, the Kentucky Oaks back in May in the slop. Now the question is she a horse that can only go so far? Is she a filly that can only go so far? Was she affected by the slop here? But she did win going a mile at Saratoga during the Belmont Stakes weekend fairly easily at 1 to 5.20. Going to be tough to beat here. She's going to stalk, and you never know. She might blow this field away here today. She's got a tactical speed, good trip. There's not much speed in this race, so she may even be on the lead, like she was in the Gulfstream Oaks. Well, not really at first call, but you could see there. But you could definitely see her doing what she has to do in order to win here. And also, she has two races already at Saratoga from last year, winning a juvenile race by 12 3/4, and then she just missed in the spinaway Grade 1 against Brightwork, who was in this race today. So, be interesting to see what happens here. So, um, the 5 My Main Squeeze. Uh, she's also been a victim of Torpedo Anna. Uh, Torpedo Anna won the Acorn last time out. She was in that race, tired in that race, weakened as it says here. I said that she may be a 1 mile turf horse or a 1 turn turf horse. And what I mean by that is it all depends upon the configuration of the track. Belmont at Aqueduct, 1 mile, that's a 1 turn race. She won. Uh, Aqueduct, obviously, same thing. It's just different abbreviation to uh, let you know what races are the Belmont races that were run at Aqueduct. The 1 mile Mace at Aqueduct here in February, she won. Oaklawn, 2 turns, nothing. 8 bells, 7 furlongs, 1 turn, won by 2 lengths. And also on the slop side, that may be key here as well, depending on how the track is come about 3:45, 4 o'clock today. And Saratoga, you know, best thing is she doesn't have to deal with Torpedo Anna, who's going to be running against the boys into Travers. You got Leslie's Rose, that's another tough filly. Power Squeeze, Power Squeeze, and Torpedo Anna both won after these races. So you do have horses that have won last time out or next time out, I should say. That's what that um, um, that's what those italics mean. It means that that horse ran next time out and won. So, but she pulled away in the 8 bells. She's won 3 in a row at Aqueduct, going 1 turn. So she could be close to the pace. She may be on the pace because there is no speed in this race, but uh, she's going to be uh, a horse that could upset Ways and Means here, who may bounce if you think about it, or she just may be the best horse in the field by far. She was obviously the best horse in the field here. Um, we'll see, but this is always a bounce candidate in my opinion. But I'm not going to tell you. I'm not as confident with that as I was with the roundabout way that I said watch the place and show pools for um, Arabian Night last week in the San Diego. Hope you had that show pool wager. Wasn't as big of a bridge jumping thing, but you still got a good return on your money. Um, Now, it is possibility that these two horses here, the one Emery and the two Denim and Pearls, are going to be side by side all the way around. And who knows, because they're on the rail, they may try to take advantage of it and go for the lead. Emery has won at 7 furlongs at Churchill Downs, has won at Saratoga. She has a versatile running style, as David Aragona says here. He does the comments on the racing here on the Racing Forum. So, so she has faced some tough rivals here, but I think that it's possible if there's two horses that could go for the lead. I think it may be Emery and maybe Denim and Pearls. Now, that race for Denim and Pearls, the question is, she did have some issues in the last race. She did have some trouble. Now, was it the trouble that caused her the problems? Was it the sloppy track? There could be many different things you can look into that race. But I think, and also she's got two bullet workouts here on the 20th and 27th. So she may be looking for a big race. She probably bounced in this race. Some people argue that she bounced here. She may bounce back and move forward here, and that may be the case here. But I am going to be on the horses that face Torpedo Anna regularly. Emery has not. Denim and Pearls has not, from what I can see there. Bell's Bluebell, the 3 horse, a long shot, has not faced her. At least not just looking at the win total. Ways and Means has Bright Work has been tiring, but but it is her first race back since November. Might need a race. Is a tough spot for her, but if she wins, she'll be right up there. But she probably needed to grow up a little bit. Um, but she has to get back on her best form, as David Aragona says there. But um, I'm going to go with the 2 horses here that have faced and have been victims of Torpedo Anna. I'm going with the 5 here, My Main Squeeze, over the 4 Ways and Means here. So I'm going 5-4-2-1. My play is on the 5 here in the um, test stakes at Saratoga. And just a reminder, these races are going to be on regular Fox, so you don't have to go to FS1 or FS2 or FS8 Ocho for your races here. Um, so you do have that today. So we're back here, and we're going to take a look at our next race here. And once again, feel free to comment, because maybe you guys like something, and I may not like it, but you may sway me. I'm always open minded to thoughts. I know this is a sports show, but when somebody talks about something on X or in real life, I'm going to listen. I may not agree with you, but I am an open minded type of a person where I will listen to you and I will take constructive criticism as well. So we then move up over to the 9th race, and the 9th race is the Lure Stakes, and this was a race I thought had the potential to be taken off the turf. And the reason why I say that is because this is a restricted race. This is a race for 4-year-olds and up, which have not won a graded sweepstake in 2024, and all the different information here that you see there. So when I was writing this up last night, and after I consulted my app, I'm thinking that, is this race going to be taken off the turf? Because the seventh race and the 10th race, they're graded stakes races. The chances of those races being taken off are slim and none because you will lose your rating. Now, this is a listed race, but it is a race that is not graded. So if they had to take this race off the turf, if there was even more rain than what they got, this would have been a candidate. And if it was a candidate, you would have had a 2-horse field. I would have just said, okay, take the 10. Now, it is interesting to note that as of 10:36 a.m., and this may fill in as we go, as we talk here, because this has happened to us. Um, it is possible that this race goes off the turf, and if it does go off the turf and Film Star does run, he has an insane advantage here because number 9, all turf. Number 8, all turf. Number 7, all turf. 6, all turf. Well, 2 races on the dirt, but you get the idea. Number 5, last 12 races, all turf. The 4, all except 1 on turf. The 3 horse, dirt horse, probably is out overmatched versus the 10 if this turns into a dual race. Uh, tur- uh, the 2, all turf races. The 1, all turf races, even though you do get thrown for a loop here because these European races are set up differently on the Daily Racing Forum website. Um, so these races, they are, this race was a race I was thinking, maybe this race is taken off the turf. So we're looking at this as a turf race. Now, keep this horse in mind because they have not scratched this yet. So if this race is taken off the turf after we're done the show, this is the horse. And it'll totally blow up my pick 5. But this is the horse that I am looking at if this ends up on the dirt. But since it's on the turf, we move up 1 slot here to the 9 horse. More Than Looks, 2-1 morning line favorite, returns to the races, and the lure is a mile race, by the way. Mile and the 16th, I should say. Not that bad of a race here, but when you got a full field here of 13 horses, was facing older horses for the second time. Did close well. It's just that there was too many horses in front of them. Master of the Seas won that race and then won the first race after that. Has run well throughout. Now, you could say, well, it is the first race back, and you could be looking at this horse potentially needing this race. But this horse has a closing kick, and don't be surprised if this horse is flying at the end to win this race. The 5, which is Big Everest, could potentially be Lone Speed here. And you could see here consistently on the front end, whether it's these 80,000 optional claimers that was not entered for a tag, the Appleton, the Artie Schiller, the Oceanport last year, the Kelso last year, always going to the front. Now, he may not be on the lead at the end, but he did do that when he was at Aqueduct back at the end of June. You could potentially see these horses. You could potentially see this horse here leading all the way around, because I could not find any other horse that would be challenging Big Everest to lead. So you could potentially see this horse on the front end all the way around, and has won on even softer turf than what is expected today. Yielding turf there a year and a half ago in the Artie Schiller, almost 2 years ago. So that's a horse that I would look at there. Even though Christophe Clement is 2 for 32 at Saratoga this year, but does win at 21% on the year. Just some dumb luck that's probably happening at Saratoga. Irish Aces closer to the front in the Arlington Stakes, two back. Was further back here in this optional claimer. That's what OC stands for. He was behind foes last time out. Came closing on the end. Now, if the surface is going to be very wet on the turf course, you know, maybe the 5 gets heavy legs, so to speak, and just shorten stride towards the end of the race. I wouldn't be surprised about that. So those two are the ones I'm looking at here. Also, Smoking Tea, the 8, did fade in the Arlington. Got a break here. Um, has been training at Fairhill. That's what FAI stands for. That is in Maryland. And that A means it was on a synthetic track there. So that horse is going to be fit. Um, Probably needed that break after that substandard performance. Um, I think that Smoking Tea could get a piece here, but I am going to try to beat the lone speed here with Irish Aces. I'm going to throw the 8 in there as well. Going to go 4-9-5-8. My win wager is on Irish Aces here. Hopefully, I can get your price here on that race. So we are 3 races down here, and I will give you my pick 5 at the end of the show uh, as well. Um, so we are 3 races in, and um, feel free to comment as well, um, especially today since I'm flying solo. AJ should be back next week. He's covering more mares. He was um, um, in the breeding shed with the mares. So that's our running joke that I've had with him. That I'll just say that you're just banging the fillies and the mares. But anyways, so but we are here today. We're looking at Saratoga. We're 3 races in. We got 2 more races here to look at here. Um, next up is the Troy Stakes, which is a turf sprint, and thankfully this is the last turf race of the day, with the 13th race being taken off the turf. Because the one thing is with turf racing, the sprint races are the races that will tear up the turf more because it's just that they're going faster. They're just the whole horse mechanics of how they run and everything. That's going to tear up the turf even more than a longer distance race. But so we do have 12 horses here, and just like the last race, as I bring back the Daily Racing Form article here. So we do have a full field of 12 here. Well, we did have a full field of 12. We do have 3 scratches here. None of the horses are affected by my picks here and in my article here. The 3 Dancing Buck, the 4 XY Speed, and the 10 Witty are all scratched. The 12 Disarmed is a main track only entrant, will probably be scratched. Now, even if this horse were to run on the dirt, let's say this goes off the turf, this horse is going to have some issues in this race. I mean, it runs on the front end, but he's trying to steal a paycheck um, if this race were to run on the main track. But since this is a graded stakes race, grade 2 race, Naira is going to do everything in their power to keep that race on the turf. So we do have 9 right now. let's just say um, for the sake of the um, for the sake of argument that it's 8. So let's say this stays on the turf. The 12 is scratched. Favored in this race is Cogburn. Now, when I wrote this article, I didn't know exactly how much rain was going to fall between um, when I started typing the article up last night and right now. Now, you can even argue, and I think I even mentioned this. He did win this race last year over soft turf. So that's what SF stands for that I highlighted there. So very versatile, ran off the pace and won. Beat the turf sprint champion No Balls. I just wanted to say No Balls. Uh, did run in the turf sprint there at Kentucky Downs, and that is its own animal, that track, because it's only a turf course, and you have the European style with the undulations of the turf course. Barely missed. I mean, it finished fifth, but it only missed by 3/4 of a length. So, but you do have, um, but he did come back. Kentucky Derby Day in the turf sprint, one going away, and he set the track record 59-4 in the Jaipur. And this Jaipur race, whether it's been at Belmont or here at Saratoga, it has set track records. And anytime you're running 59-4, you are flying. And he just kept going and going on the front end. And you see here, he does run off the pace if he needs to. He's won 5 of his last 6, and even the moisture that is in the ground from last night's rain, I don't think it affects him. Now, some people will lean away here, and if you want to lean away, go right ahead. Um, you know, and like I said here, this is an open forum. If you want to say something, feel free to do so. Um, but I have not found the way to beat Cogburn here. So it may just be the fact that, and like I said last week, I think I said this verbatim on the article about the San Diego. The races aren't run on paper; they're run on the track, or in this case, the turf course. So horses are just like people; they occasionally have a clunker. So, so that's definitely an argument that you can say is it just happens, just like Arabian Night last week in the San Diego. The one Mischief Magic um, has been running mostly even overseas on good courses, good to firm, good. Good is pretty much firm when you look at the races abroad. Um, Now, could not get to um, could not get to Cogburn here. Nobody could. Um, he was 7 wide at the quarter pole. You're not going to win very often 7 wide on a turf course on the turf course there, uh, especially in a turf sprint like this when you got a horse that just keeps on going at the speed that he was. Maybe a candidate to bounce back and maybe steal this race from Cogburn. Um, just a matter of how he will take to the turf with a little more ground here. But Charlie Appleby, great international trainer, has a set of horses here in North America this year, has been winning so far at Aqueduct, 3 of 5 so far, 11 of 32 overall. William Buick comes in to ride, so that he gets his regular rider back. Could potentially upset this field, but well, if you want to call it an upset, but this will be a race where they don't. He has to beat Cogburn. He's 0 for 2 against Cogburn this year, but hey, that's why they run the races, because you never know when a horse will. Um, you never know when a horse will have a bad day. Um, I threw Big Invasion here into this race here. You know, he's 6 for 13 at the distance, so that's going to help. He did bounce back from the Jaipur where uh, he had some issues there at the 8th and the 16th pole. Um, so when you look at this here, he gets back on track with this optional claimer where he was not entered for the tag. He was 4 wide. He led, but could not hold on against Outlaw Kid. The way that this reads to me is this horse um, is a closer. Um, it may just be that he's not a graded stakes type horse. He may be, but he almost stole the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint at 12-1 when No Balls won. And again, another No Balls reference. He just missed in the Jaipur last year in a 107-4 race by 3/4 of a length. So this horse has the ability to run well. Maybe as a 5-year-old now, maybe he's starting to get up there in age. Maybe, but maybe he's primed for a race here where he will um, close and maybe steal this race. But in my opinion, this is all about Cogburn. 617 is my pick in this race, and I just couldn't find a way to beat Cogburn in this race. So these are the races where sometimes you want to beat the favorite, and sometimes you just eat chalk, make an ugly face while you're swallowing the chalk, and you get some return for your money. So that is race number 10. And then we are and next we have the main event of the card, which is the Whitney Stakes, which is a mile and an eighth on the main track. And National Treasure, the Belmont winner, returns to the race. Not the Belmont winner, the Preakness winner, returns to the races here. Um, as you can see there, it's one lap around the Saratoga track. Grade 1. Il Miracolo, the 6 is scratched, so we're down to 11. And this is what you want in horse racing, especially for the gambler. You want a full field, and you want to 11 horses. You can still consider a full field with the fact we have smaller fields as we go on here. So, National Treasure, last year's Preakness winner, won the Met Mile going away. Um, this was a race where he just got on the front end, and it was the end. It was the end for everybody. Just like I said last week, and I've said it about 3-4 times here, you don't run the races on paper. And this may be a case where, because there is speed in this race, um, it could be that this is your typical backer horse where you think that somebody is going to pass, in this case, National Treasure, and all of a sudden it's see you later. Um, so you may see that, and you may not. But when he won the Preakness last year, it was on the front end, was able to hold on. He got outfinished in the dirt mile in November to Cody's Wish. Cody's Wish had that amazing closing story to his career, and the whole story behind the naming of the horse and the kid that unfortunately passed away right after the race. Um, he has run well. Um, he did not get the lead in that race in Saudi Arabia, but he is a horse that will go for the lead, and if he goes on the lead, he probably wins. Um, it's just that those younger races last year, he just wasn't getting to the lead. He did get the lead in the Preakness. Belmont was probably too far for him. This is probably the right distance for him, and he's going to be tough here today, but he is going to have some speed that's going to that may affect him here. The 8 Skippy Longstock, or I'm sorry, the 10 Skippy Long Stocking. I have to fix that in the article here. Um, and I will fix that after the fact here. So as I'm, so I will have to fix that. Um, so Skippy Long Stocking, I expect is going to be at or near the pace here. Um, he did run well in that race in the Stephen Foster. Kings Barnes was just too much that race. Um, it's just he's going to be near the pace. It's just a matter how far away he's going to be. And also, he may be prompted to go for the lead because right next to him is Arthur's Ride, who basically only knows one thing, and that's go to the front. Now, huge step up in class here, but he had that huge win going a mile and a quarter, uh, running a 111, and according to this, was eased up in the final 16th and still won by 12 and three quarters. So you could potentially have a horse here who could potentially be the next superstar out of nowhere, or this horse could be the hope that you've been the horse that you're looking for that burns your money. And I think what's going to happen here, you're going to have horses here that are going to be on the front end, and it all depends where National Treasure is compared to the other two. I just think that this could potentially be a. I mean, you could potentially may not even see National Treasure on the lead. So, um, so don't be surprised if you don't see uh, National Treasure on the lead here. But if National Treasure's on the lead, he's going to be pressured no matter what. So, what I'm looking at here is the 5 First Mission, and there we go with the fives again, with the pillow that I showed you here this morning. Um, And even if the track is sloppy here, did win the Ali Sheba Grade 2 on the slop at Churchill Downs, drew away in hand by 4. The Stephen F. Foster went for the lead. I don't. I mean, this looks like a horse that's going to be um, stalking more than going for the lead. I think that this was not a good move here where they went for the lead. It may just be that nobody went for the lead. I didn't watch that race, but don't be surprised if this horse wins. So, um, actually, this is my pick here, First Mission. I think that he's going to benefit from a speed duel, has consistently stalked about 2, 3 lengths behind, and takes over in the stretch. So that is my pick here. Also, keep an eye on Bright Future, the 9. Um, the 9 um, did win the Salvatore Mile first race back. Going to add another furlong here. Going to need to run better, but another stalking type that may benefit from a speed duel here, and that is definitely a horse that I'm going to look at here as well here. So we're going to go. I'm going to try to beat National Treasure here. Let's go with 5, 9, 3, 10. Going with um, the 5 First Mission over Bright Future, over National Treasure, over Skippy Long Stocking. Those are the 4 horses in that race, and my play is the 5 in this race. And I do have to fix that because I posted in the article that is dropping right about now as it's 11 o'clock. Skippy Long Stocking is the 10, not the 8. So, um, so I will post. I will post. I will fix that as well. Um, so what I'm going to do is I will now give you my pick 5, and this is um, now this is a mandatory payout only because of the fact that it is a um, pull up here. I'm pulling up the Bleacher Brothers page here. And I am going to share that article here. And I am going to update this. Um, I'm going to update this pick four as well. What I'm going to do is I am going to go into the article after the fact. I'm going to share the article. I'm going to say, hey, this is the updates here. And I'm actually going to go. Um, I'm actually going to update this after the fact. Um, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the pick five here in text on the Quills Picks Winners article that literally just dropped seconds ago. Let me go here. So it's races 7 through 11. So I am going to fix this here because of the fact that I did see a typo because I printed the article up after I printed up the article this morning. So race 7, which is the Saratoga Derby Invitational, I'm taking Diego Velasquez as one of my picks here in the pick five, but I'm also taking the 5, Deterministic. I think Deterministic has a good shot here. I'll take him there. Uh, and we're going to go with the 4 and the 5 here in the 8th race, the test stakes. I'm going to go with the 4 Ways and Means and my main pick, which is my main squeeze, no pun intended. The 9th race, the Lure. Going to go three different legs here, 3 options here. I'm going to go with the 4, which is Irish Aces. I'm going to go with Big Everest, and I'm going to go with the 9, More Than Looks. And yeah, this could chalk out and may not even get $24 back. But this is actually going to be a $24 ticket. Race 10 to Troy. I can't find a way to beat Cogburn. That's my single. And then in the Whitney, I am going to add the 3 National Treasure to this. So I'm going to go 3, 5, 9, and 10 on there. So I'm going to fix that on there. It's going to be a It is going to be a $24 ticket, not an $18 ticket, and that will be 48 combinations at a 50-cent increment. So you are looking at a $24 payout, and I don't think I shared my screen there. So let me go there here. There you see it, 4-5 with 4-5 with 4-5-9 with 6, and I'm going to amend this real quick in a couple of minutes. 3, 5, 9, and 10. It'll be a $24 ticket for you in the pick four. So that is it. The good thing is with this being just uh, on X, on YouTube, and on Facebook, we do have a little bit of leniency in running over, but I do have a hard stop 11:15. But I'm going to stop now. Wish everybody the best, and we will do it live again next Saturday, the return of AJ, I believe, and we'll do it again. And best of luck to all your wagers, no matter what you play today. Let's get some money, and we'll do it live here on Also Eligible again next Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. And also check my show, The Joe Quills Show, on my page. Everything is Joe Quills, and that will start at 9 p.m. on Monday. And I'm also going to be paying off the bet on Monday night. So have a great day, everybody. Have a great week. Best of luck in all your wagers, and I will catch you next Saturday here on the Bleacher Brothers platforms for Also Eligible. Thank you. Have a great day.